And we are live. I'd like to welcome everybody to another installment of Mannimal Research, our live broadcast we do every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. I am joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ricky Weaver. How you doing tonight, Ricky?
Doing great. How about y'all boys?
Doing good, doing good. And for everybody out there, we have a treat for y'all. We also have the lovely and talented Mr. Derrick Jasper Walls. He's come on to tell his story, his encounter tonight. How you doing tonight, Walls?
I'm good. Good. A lot
Good deal.
of weather, but I'm all right.
Yeah, man. We've all been dealing a little bit with that. You have too, haven't you, Rick?
Oh Lord, yeah. Last week, man, I'm telling you what, I thought I was gonna pass on over.
Well, we're glad you didn't.
Bad week, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Um, get all this out of the way first. Again, I want to welcome everybody to that's watching tonight, and those of you that are going to watch it later. We sure appreciate it. And if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends all about us. And also, every week we ask people to, if you've had an encounter, something happened to you that you can't explain, or if you know it was one of the big guys, especially, to hit us up, send us an email, and throughout the nights, I will be displaying all of our email addresses periodically, so y'all jot those down to send one to any of us. We would greatly appreciate it, and we are currently working on our website. We are hoping to have that up and running here very shortly. And once we do that, it'll be a lot easier for you guys to go on and submit your encounters. So we look forward to that. And one other thing before we get started on tonight's show, I got to give a shout out and a special thank you to someone that made my day, made my week. Actually, if you guys remember back on our second episode, the very first guest we ever had, Mr. Rick Taylor, came on and shared his sightings and his encounters with us. Rick is the author of the book Bigfoot, My Encounters with the Forest People, America's Last Free Tribe. Well, I went to my mailbox just yesterday, and this was in there. Mr. Rick sent me a copy of his book.
Awesome.
Inside it, he wrote me a little message and he autographed it for me. So again, I have thanked Rick personally, and I just wanted to do it again here publicly and give him another endorsement on his book. Guys, please go to Amazon and check out that book. Pick it up. It's not very expensive. I've been reading it, and it's well written. I really like it. And do us all a favor and pick that up for Rick. That was really, really cool of him to do.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Bringing on our expedition this weekend. We'll take a look at closer.
Yeah. Walls is right. We have been rained out for about 4 weeks now. We've been trying to get back up to an area that Walls and I checked out. It's been over a month ago. Probably like 6 weeks ago. We went up there and we had some encounters with some of the big. We think some of the big guys up there. We found a lot of good tree structures up there, and actually went over some audio and found something really, really interesting. I can't wait to share that with you guys. That's coming soon. But yeah, we got another trip planned for this weekend, and hopefully next week when we come on, we'll have a lot of stuff to share with you guys. And if we get anything good, we'll probably do an extra show or two or something to share it with y'all. So looking forward to that. Yep. Rick, you been out doing anything? I know you've been out a little bit. What's been going on, buddy?
Went out today for a little while. Went down and checked out some property that we're getting permission on to do some hunts down there. Looked it over. Pretty good looking piece of property. I spent probably 2 hours down there today, and it looked pretty promising.
Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Did you find like some structures maybe, or maybe a couple prints, or I mean, if you don't want to really go into it just now, that's fine. But
Well, I really don't want to go into the details on it right now, but
okay.
yeah, I found there's a lot of bear sign down there. A lot of bear sign. Found a couple of broken branches up pretty high. I think it's actually going to be an interesting place for us to go check out.
Okay. Yeah, good deal. Well, everybody knows, or the people, the regulars that we have, know that one of the beliefs here at the MRSSI is behavior. We believe that the best way to learn about these creatures' behavior is through eyewitness encounters, and so every week we try to have somebody on to talk about some experiences they've had, and this week is no different. We got Walls down there that's going to be sharing his experience, the experience that got him interested in the subject of Bigfoot, and I don't want to give too much away, but it was like we had last week. Mr. Cliff and Miss Patricia Winker were on, and I wanted to have Walls come on this week because it ties in a little bit with their encounter as well, being as they were camping and something messed with the tent that they were sleeping in. So it's believed by just about all researchers that these guys are interested in campers, and they come and they check it out. And last week was a testament to that, and so is this week. All that being said, going to hand it over to Wall. If you're ready, take it over, buddy.
Hey guys, welcome everybody that's here and everybody that's going to be watching later. My encounter, or what happened with me, actually been happening way back, probably when my kids, my two boys, were about 8 and 9 years old, and which I drove a truck for 19. Well, I'm at 19 years now, and I'd be home on the weekends. So Friday evenings, before I got it, the boys had stuff ready. We'd go camping Friday, Saturdays. This particular time, it was probably, I would say it was probably in the spring, kind of fall area, because it was nice, comfortable, perfect weather. We always camped usually down in Marion County, and we actually went riding in the Bronco, riding around trying to find mud holes to go mudding. And we ran across this place that was across the bridge, and we went and checked it out, went fishing for a little bit there. They were fishing. I kind of scoped the area out, and it was nice. I mean, you could fit at least 3 big camp areas. With the time there, we actually seen people parking an RV. You can actually park an RV in this area. We decided, the following week we're going to try it out and camp it out there. Well, the following week I came in, boys were excited. I was excited because this place, it was perfect for catfishing. And that's what we like to do, is catfish all night. So we got everything set up. I was basically getting everything. They went on and fished, and I got everything, tent set up and everything, got the cooking. Nights rolling around, pretty much stayed quiet all night. There was really no birds or nothing. You basically hear the cars go by, trains, normal traffic stuff. About halfway through the night, it's still quiet, and it gets in this area. It's very pitch dark because it's actually on the backside of the mountain area on the backside of the mountain of Sand Mountain, which I don't know if anybody knows that. It's in Alabama. pretty dark. I'm talking about dark as anything. So anything that would be sneaking up on us, you had to have a spotlight. So the boys are out fishing. We're fishing. All through the night, getting everything done. I noticed we kind of heard something, but we didn't really kind of just put it off. Figure it was probably one of the boys throwing something, or because we'd always, play around, kid around most of the time. And I kept seeing, we had one other camping crew came in. They were on the far side of us, and they just had a small tent. I think probably 3 or 4 people. It wasn't a lot of people. But they went to bed early. We stayed camping, stayed out fishing. It got around probably about, I don't know, about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. My youngest one decided to go to bed. He was tired. So he went to bed in the tent. Me and the oldest one stayed up. It was about 2:30. We finally decided to lay down. I was getting just wore out. And we laid down. Told myself, I'll set the alarm clock. We'll get up pretty early before the sun, which would have been only a couple hours away. So we're laying down. My youngest one, he's snoring away.
So what time was this, Walls, would you say?
It was about 2:30, about 2:30 in a.m. early in the, first next morning.
Okay.
This would have been on a Saturday morning because it was Friday. It would have been Saturday morning. Or no, scratch that. It was actually Saturday night is when we actually, because Friday night we had no information, nothing going on all through the time. But Saturday night, around 2:30, that's when we went to bed. And that's when everything you kind of felt like something was watching you, like something was nearby. You kind of had that feeling. But with me with 2 small kids, I had that feeling, but I also had to have the protective feeling. It's like, okay, if something's here, we gotta be, I always was looking around. But the bad thing was it was so dark, you couldn't see. You could only see from what the fire light could illuminate.
Now, how old were your boys, Walls?
Chris was 8 and DJ was 9, so they're a year apart.
Okay.
And DJ still actually remembers it. He remembers what happened because he was one that was more active. The young one, that kid could sleep through a freight train coming through. But we laid down. I think it was DJ. He kind of woke me up about 3:30 a.m. in the morning and saying, "Hey, Dad, I need to go to the bathroom." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get up, go out there to the tree. The fire's still going. You'll be good." Well, right before he started moving, we heard tree snaps. We heard like something stepping on. Like we figured it was the other campers. Something, figured they was walking around. Maybe they got up and went fishing late at night or something. So I look out. I don't see nothing. Their fires died out. They're pretty much they're asleep. Well, we hear it on the back side of our tent. We hear it on the back side, and I'm like, okay. And DJ, he pretty much goes panic mode. He's like, "What is that? I'm not going out there." I was like, "It's all right. It's probably a raccoon." We did coon hunt it quite a bit. So he's like, "I'm not going out there, Dad." So I was like, "All right." I said, "All right, I'll go out here. We'll go together. We'll go out and check it out." So we go out. We look. We're just barely creeping our head out looking. He gets out. He don't leave far from the tent, so he's actually using the bathroom right there next to it. He wasn't leaving far. So he does this deal, comes back, lays down. He's like, "What do you think that was, Dad?" I said, "Son, it's probably a coon. Probably there ain't no telling." I said, "It's late at night. They're gonna start coming out. It could be a possum." But kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't think a raccoon is big enough and heavy enough that's going to snap a small twig that's going to be loud enough behind us. So I was like, playing off with him, kind of keeping him calm. So we lay down. He goes back, dozes back off, and I'm kind of awake, kind of not awake. And I doze off for a minute. He wakes back up and he says he hears something crash behind me. I never heard a thing. I don't. He said, Dad, I think something just hit the truck." And I was like, "Okay, maybe it's something jumping and the leaf fell." I was like, "Just go back to sleep. It's nothing. Just ignore it. Go back to sleep, son." Well, I turn over. I'm laying on my back, laying on my belly, and I have my hands kind of just like this, just laying down. My pillow in here, and I'm laying here. Well, I have the edge of the tent, the back of the tent right there. He's next to me. Chris is on the other side, and Chris is all covered up. He's unaware of everything. So next thing I know is DJ's sitting there. He's dozed off a little bit. His hand's on top of mine, and we actually at this point it's probably, I would say it's probably about an hour before we were getting up, and we feel literally something, not step, just basically sit down on the tent, just barely on the edge, just enough, sit right on, and it was on my hand. And it was on. He could feel it. I mean, you could feel that, and I was like, "What is that?" And we're whispering to each other like, "Okay." And he's panicking. I said, "Do not move."
Now, did you hear it? Did you hear it approaching at all?
No, didn't hear nothing approaching. We just was laying there. Next thing I know, boom, there's something on my hand. And it's big enough, it's covering my hand and my other hand across my arms. And he feels it, and I said, "Don't move." I said, "Just let's see what happens." He's panicking. So I finally said, "All right, ease your hand back. I'm gonna leave my hand here." So I'm sitting here, and he's whispering in my ear, going, "Dad, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go." I'm like, "You need to be quiet. Just I said, reach down there to my left side." I said, "Grab my knife." And I had at that time, I was, being that age, I love Rambo. So I had a Rambo knife. So I said, "Grab my knife, slide it up here to my left hand. I'll ease it to my right, just in case something starts slinging around at this edge." I try to wake up Chris. He doesn't wake up. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to drag him out. So I'm laying there, I'm sitting there, and he gets my knife to me. I switch over. My hand is still literally on. It's still being sit on. This thing, whatever it is, it's not hardly moving. It's not rocking. It's just sitting there. Just plain as day, just sitting there. So I decide I'm going to turn my hand around because I want to feel on my other hand. I want to feel what I'm feeling. But give in mind, I had a barrier. I had the tent barrier in between me and whatever was out here. So I turn my hand around, and I literally have my hand just like this, left hand like this. I put the knife down, and I basically have my hand sitting just like this while I'm laying down just like this. And I can feel slowly go across this where the tent and whatever's sitting there. I slowly feel, and it's hard to describe because I still feel, I can picture it today. That's how scared I was, but I had to do both things. I'm scared, but I have to be the one that had to protect my kids too. Mm-hmm. And I could feel, it felt like if you've ever felt a matted up wet dog, basically, and it's hardened up. It was basically felt like that because I was like, okay, in my mind, I'm going back through like, okay, I've touched the deer. This ain't deer. This is not deer. I said, I've felt a wild boar that was dead. It's not. This ain't a boar. I was like, okay, what else could be? And this thing is so big. I mean, you're looking at a pretty big size. I would say if he's sitting on me, I'm probably holding his butt. And I'm thinking back all the animals. I'm like, it's not that big. I said, it can't be a bear because a bear I think if you touch them, they're gonna freak out. They're gonna start coming around trying to figure out what's touching it or attacking. Couldn't figure it out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the next thing. I told DJ, I said, DJ, this is what I want you to do. I give him the knife. Yes, this is a 9-year-old. He knows how to handle a knife. I said, listen, I said, I want you to hold it in your right hand, your dominant hand. I'm going to do something crazy. He's like, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to try to make it mad. I'm going to try to see if I can get it to move and move away, see if it will move. Well, I took my left hand and I just barely pushed up enough that would maybe rock it. It would feel a pressure. Did not move. Nothing. It just sat there. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to go a little bit more with more force. So I said, just get ready. If this thing decides to get mad, we'll, be ready to start doing something. Start stabbing. If it starts coming at us, we got to protect us, and then we'll take off. I actually literally unzipped. He unzipped. I didn't. He unzipped the door so we could be able to take off if we had to. I get Chris up. I said, Chris, you need to get up. There's something sitting on our tent. He actually gets to feel what I'm feeling. He's like, what is that? I said, I don't know. I said, just ease back. You get near the door, get ready to run. I said, get the keys to the truck. He's got the keys to the truck. We got a plan going here. We're all right. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put another force on this. Hopefully this will make this thing get up and take off. I take both hands and I literally basically push forward. Hold it. I'm holding this thing like forward. And I sat back down. And you could feel it just roll back right on the tent and just sit there. It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't scared. And it wasn't running. It was.
Did you hear anything? Could you hear any breathing, any grunting?
Didn't hear no grunting. Didn't hear anything. I mean, nothing. That's what I was thinking. I was like, if it's an animal, I'm going to hear, if it was a boar sitting on us, you're going to hear it grunting all the time. That's all boars do. If it was a bear, you're going to hear the growl. I mean, more than likely, the growl. I don't think they would sit on a tent like that anyways. A deer, you might be able to hear the breathing. It might be trying to hide, but as big as this thing was and how the fur was, it was not a deer. I'll put my hand on the Bible. That wasn't a deer.
The weight of this thing, Walls, what would you have estimated it, or from the pressure you were feeling, what would you have estimated this animal would have weighed?
A lot more than I was. I know that, because when I put on, I had to put full force, and I'm holding it. If I had to estimate it at that time, I was about 205, and I had to use full force in my arms. The biceps up here, I would say, because I was probably bench pressing about 200. It had to be close to 200 to almost 300 pounds at least, just for sitting there. Because I probably didn't have his full body, whatever was there, but I had enough of it to push it, almost like if we're sitting Indian style, and you get behind somebody and you push their butt forward, you're not going to have that full body weight.
Right.
You have that little angle. If I had to do it, if I had to estimate, I would have to say at least 2 to 3, because it was a pretty good pressure I had to put on it. But I didn't put enough on, like stabbing him. It was more of a small grudge, just up to hold it, and then eased it back down. Because I still had to think about my boys. I'm still doing a protective mode too. Other than that, then
So you think it was Bigfoot butt? Basically,
I think I crushed the Bigfoot butt. I think I crushed him. I mean, I might, when I felt the fur, I basically was rubbing his butt, because that was the only thing I know that would be that rounded area of a butt. I mean,
and there's a lot of fat. I mean, everybody has a lot of fat on the rear end, so I can understand if something like that was sitting on you on like your arm, that it wouldn't be like a crushing weight or
Right.
anything like that. I mean, I can see where that could be.
Yeah, that was and then after that, I sat there. I was like, we waited for a few minutes, and I was like, okay, you know what? This thing ain't being aggressive. It's not moving. I think, you know what? I think we're okay. And I felt calm. Wasn't really panicking, like going, holy crap, this thing, what is this? I can't take these boys outside the door. It's something that could easily grab them. So I told the boy, I said, listen, I said, DJ, you have the knife, put it right between us. You scoot down a little bit, scoot up next to me, lay down, go to sleep. We have another hour before daylight. I said, this thing will get up and go. Chris, he's laid down. I said, lay down, be quiet, just be calm, just let it go, let it do its thing. I zipped the tent back up. I back there. I still feel it still sitting there. There's still no breathing. I can't feel it. I can't hear nothing. I lay back. I leave it. I skip back down, lay back on my belly, and I make sure I still have contact with this thing. So I know that when it lifts up, I know it's gone. I'll feel it go. So they actually fell back to sleep. I'm laying there and I doze off probably 10 minutes before. That's probably 4:55. It was almost 5 o'clock in the morning. And the sun's just barely starting to creep over the mountain because where we was at, it has to come way up over the hill. And I dozed off for, I don't know, it had to be at least 20 minutes. It had to be because I woke back up. DJ, he's already gone out of the tent. So my first plan is like, oh crap, what the heck? I look out, he's sitting at the fire and he's looking back behind us, wondering, I'm like, okay. So I ease up, I wake up, I go to the fire, get warmed up because it was still chilly that morning. I was like, what is it? He said, what was that last night? What was that? I was like, son, I don't have no freaking clue. I said, only thing I can think of, and I'm out of my mouth, I said, maybe it was a Bigfoot. He's like, oh, you think so? I said, son, I don't know. As long as we didn't get attacked, I think we're fine. Next thing come out, he said, I'm not going camping again. So I'm like, you can't be scared of that. I said, it's no difference from another animal coming around. So we're sitting there. Chris gets up. He's fishing. We're fishing, chilling there. It's probably it probably got around about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I start cooking breakfast, and I said, you know what? Hey DJ, I said, have you been around the backside of the tent to see if we see anything? He's like, no, Dad, I ain't been back there. I was like, okay. I said, well, let's go back there and check out, see if we can see something. So we go around there, and the grounds, it's hard, very hard. It's hard to leave tracks because even with our shoes, we could see the shoe prints because of the designs that's on the bottom of the shoes. We could see that, but like a barefoot or anything like that, there's no tracks, no deer tracks, no nothing. It's so hard. So we're sitting there looking, and DJ actually sees this. He said, Dad, there's something. What is that right there? And we look at it closer, and you can actually see the flat outline of something that was sitting there in our tent. You could actually see the outline of something whatever was sitting there. It left a print, but you can't.
How wide was the outline?
Do what?
How wide was the outline?
It was probably, if I can remember back before. Let's see, my tent was just a little bit bigger than your small tent that you had on our first investigation. And on the back side of it, I would say a good at least 3 to 4 feet, at least wide. And that's toe to toe. That's heel to toe. And we saw that, and you could see where it was sitting. I mean, and that's all but you couldn't see no footprints or nothing. You couldn't see nothing if it was like sitting with his knees up or anything like that. But you could see I guess you'd say it's a butt print. I don't know what else would make a round, almost like a round perfect circle. I even looked for signs if maybe it was sitting there eating. We even was checking to see if maybe it was eating an animal or something. No blood, no nothing, no hair, no nothing. We go up. There's actually from where it's at. There's a little backside that go actually a trail or small trail that you basically can walk it, and it goes up in the hills around the other side of the lake. And I was like, you know what? I said, the only thing I can think of is it got up from here and it went straight that way. And wherever it is, it's probably went all the way across over to Jackson County by now. And DJ's like, oh my God, that's a butt, Dad. That's a butt. And we didn't really tell nobody. He told his mama, which, she played it out. Well, that's cool. She didn't really believe it, I don't think.
Well, I mean, you can pretty much rule out just about any known animal behavior.
Right.
I mean, you could rule that out. And the next thing that comes to mind would be a person. And if a person's got to have a huge set, pardon my language, to walk up on a stranger's tent and just plop down on it. That's a very good way to get yourself hurt, shot, stabbed, whatever. Because you said you guys had a really big knife.
Yeah.
If it was a person, they were not thinking clearly, or there's something wrong with them. So I'm gonna rule out it being a person too, because that's just not something a sane person does.
Yeah, well, and plus with the matted up fur, the hair or whatever was on the butt side, I'd like to know how he grew that much hair on his butt if it was a person. Because
yeah, it could have been a really nice fur coat or something like that.
Guys, I've had a lot of bear encounters of them coming into my camps over the years, and well, for instance, one up on Jack's River back when my son Scotty was probably 11 years old. I had him with me. We had one come into camp, and those things don't just come in and plop down like that. When they come in for two things. They come in. They're going to kind of check your area out. If you've been cooking, basically that's what draws a buyer in. If you've left, if you poured out cooking grease, or if you've left food out, snack cake, whatever, they're going to come in. This one particular one that came in that night on us, it loved ramen noodles of all things. That's the thing I can't stand. My son Scotty loves those things. He had probably, I don't know, 20 packs of them that he had packed up, and this thing had gotten into those. And the next morning we got up, and I followed a trail of ramen noodles for a mile up the trail above camp where this thing had scattered ramen noodles. And the evening before, we had left a stringer of fish we'd caught in the water, and I told the boys that I'd clean them the next morning. We'd have them for breakfast. Well, I go down after all this had taken place to get the fish, and all I had was a stringer full of fish heads. This thing had actually eaten the fish and just left the stringer with the heads attached, hanging there in the water. So, wow. That's basically the type reaction you'll get from a bear when they come into camp. So, no, I'd basically rule what you were dealing with out as being a bear.
Yeah, that was the way mine was looking, because that people have camped there so many times. Because you can see, it's a known campsite basically, but it's not in a camping area kind of area. This is actually on the bottom side of a mountain, right next to the lake of Nickajack, and it's basically just a kind of just like a runoff. Because even the locals come and check on everybody that's there, because they, it's in a hole. But it's a good spot. It's a very good spot. We actually, and I had a buddy the one we went coon hunting with. I said, you know what? And I wanted to. The crazy part of me is wanting to track that whatever this was. I wanted to track it down. We went hunting the following week to a coon hunting. We went one on one side, and I said, look, I know. Let's go check this area out. And he said, okay, where is that? I said, follow me. We'll go down here. We'll go down. Well, when we got there, there's nobody there. There's no camps, no nothing going on. I said, all right, that's perfect. Nobody's here. Let's hunt. Well, I know that we sent the dogs off. They have GPS. They took off towards the trail that I was talking about. They got a scent of something, took off down that way. So we followed them up that way. We didn't catch anything. We went all the way around the other side of the lake that we didn't even know was there. But they got wind of something in that area. But it wasn't a coon because there was no coons, no possums, on nothing going on. And so we probably stayed there probably about an hour or two, and then we switched spots and went somewhere else. Because but I realized the dogs they tracked on something. They hit on something. I don't think it was a coon. I think they hit a trail of something that was there before. It may have came back and was checking to see if we were there again. We did cook that night. We had s'mores. We basically did hot dogs over the fire with sticks. The normal campfire activities. Like they say, just go and do a normal camp thing. Which next morning I did cook breakfast. With the skillet and everything. Other than that, that was the only we've camped out there before. After that, after we went coon hunting, it kind of helped the boys kind of settle down. So we went and done it, camped again. Never got nothing else, and never got anything activity or anything. We, at that then we actually would see squirrels, we'd see all the other animals around, but didn't have any kind of strange activity. And that kind of reminded me of back when me and Wayne went that one up on where we're going this weekend, where it was very quiet. It was solid quiet. And when I first did that, I was like, that's what got me thinking back when I had the encounter, basically me grabbing Bigfoot's butt, if you want to say. But yeah, I went through every freaking motion in my head of going, and every thought going, okay, it can't be this animal, it can't be this animal, it can't be this. What is this? And that basically I believed in Bigfoot before. I wanted to see one. I always wanted to see one. I always wanted, I want to sit down and talk to one if I can. Teach it, like, I want to be like the one Gorilla in the Mist. Get with a clan of them, get to talk to them, sign language with them. It'd be so cool to actually be that person, actually to be able to do that.
Maybe we can get you into mind speak with them.
Yeah, even that. I don't know. I don't know if they want to read my thoughts or not.
No, they'd probably blush if they read your mind.
Yeah, they would. There'd be a triple thought there. Because I've seen all the animals.
No, Walls. This particular trip there, was that your last night? Did this happen?
Yeah.
You didn't stay another night?
Yeah, it was. That was the Saturday night when that happened. It was that Sunday morning, kind of, the transition into Sunday morning and stuff. We figured Friday night's usually really busy down in that area because of football and everything else. So maybe that's unless the hot dog smell, or maybe the s'mores, or maybe us catching catfish. Maybe got the smell coming. I mean, they could say if there was one there, or maybe it was just traveling through. I thought about that too. Maybe it's traveling on over the hill to Jackson County because there's a ton of wooded areas over there. But it's a good place to hide because, like I said, it's pitch dark. It's solid dark out there. You have to have a spotlight just to make sure.
Well, you said you were on Nickajack. Is that right?
Yeah, on the back side of it. Yeah, basically right behind Sand Mountain area. Yeah, right on the back side of it.
Okay, the reason I ask is we used to go up to a lake over across Monteagle, Tim Ford Lake.
Yeah.
We used guide service there, and John Riddle was the guy that run guide service that we used up there. And John had told me about an encounter that he had one morning. He would that's where he got all his shad at, was there at Nickajack. They would take traps down there and they would catch the shad, and then they would reuse them up at Tim Ford to catch striper with. And he told me of an encounter that he had one morning where they had left a couple of traps out and something had raided the traps, and he had just caught a glimpse of it early that morning when he came in, and he said this thing was humongous. He said he didn't think it was a bear. It walked upright. So, you know, you may have encountered the same thing that John encountered up there at the time.
Possible. That's possible. I mean, over in that area, you got, I think over in that area, you have Sand Mountain, you have Lookout Mountain, you have part of the Appalachians that's come that corner end of there. You have also the Trails of Tears is through there. So I mean, they've got plenty of area to hide. You know, you got Grootney Logger up in that area, Altamont, all that big mountain range. There's areas there that there's not houses at, and I could see one hanging around in them areas, maybe getting a trash or something.
Guys, we live in a really good area for these creatures to not only live but to thrive, and we're running across that. You know, we're seeing that all the time, getting encounters where we're seeing stuff ourselves, and the story that Walls told tonight and last week or this past Sunday, Cliff and Patricia, when they were on. I mean, what do these two encounters have in common? People got their tent messed with, so they were camping. It just goes to show. I mean, it just further proves that these things are curious about camping. So, guys, just be careful if you're going out camping. If you're not wanting to run into these things, go to a designated campsite where there's other people. Because if you go out by yourself like we do and try to get into these lost areas that you have to, hike a good ways out where no one else is around, chances are if something's around, it's going to come check you out. And we've all heard our share of encounters that weren't as friendly as the one Walls had. They can go south quick, guys. Just be really, really careful while you're out there. And that's all I had to say about it.
Yeah, it definitely got to be careful. Which that's the thing with that area there was, and I've actually been by there. It's kind of grew up a little bit, but people still camps in that little spot. Which you have the mountain, you have the backside of that road that comes right there, and boom, it's right there. It's almost like a pull off almost. But people still camp out there. They still, but I'm sure I can't be the only one that would have had something happen there.
No, I'm sure you're not.
Scared, like I said, I ain't told nobody. This is really the first, other than you, Wayne. I told you, roughly, something that happened. And then which Rick knew about it a little bit too. But this is actually the first I've actually come open, basically big time open with it. I wasn't really scared. It was like more of don't the boys can say it, they'll think it's cute and everything else. It's fine, but trying to protect them too. Don't want nobody making fun of my kids and all that and them other things. And a lot of people are like that. And to the viewers, look, I got enough big enough Conans to come on here. I'm on live. Boom, there's the story. And I'll put my hand on the Bible. It's the solid truth. And I can remember very good about stuff, especially when it's something like that, and it heightens your senses and everything up. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. There's enough groups out here that you can tell somebody, and you can still be anonymous, even telling us. Just say, hey, look, I have this. It can be a lead for us. And say, hey, I had this encounter at this certain area. It's okay. We're not going to say your name. If you don't want it, no big deal. We won't say your name. We'll give you a makeup name or something. Don't be afraid. And if you do want to go by yourself by these things, just make sure you do protect yourself. Don't try to hurt nothing unless you're being hurt. Protect yourself. We're not out there to hurt them. We want to see them. We want to we want to talk with them. We want to sit down at a dinner table out there at their dinner table and eat with them and see what they, learn all kinds of things about them. It, it was
Yeah.
it was one that really got me the biggest, knowing they could be real, and then us finding footprints, man, that killed it.
Yeah.
I still had the skeptic side. I still have I still got to keep it in my mind. It's like, hey, it could be this deep. You got to keep it open mind. You got to think outside the box. Because that's the only way to make everything logic. And I mean, it's just that way. And I
Yeah.
hope,
Yeah. Well said. Well said, Walls. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I mean, great story. A really, really interesting story. You told me about it a couple months ago, and I've been excited about you coming on and sharing it because, like I said, it goes to further prove that these things are curious about us and what we do. Because if you think about it, I mean, what other entertainment would they have, other than watching us make fools of ourselves, trying to live, in their house, trying to do what they do all the time, so it's a really good story. Rick, you got any questions for Walls?
Um, I don't know, Wild. Would you explain to our viewing public, the perspective of a parent? I mean, you were laying there in that tent. This thing was setting on you. Your two young sons there with you. I mean, what was running through your mind, man, about protecting these kids from whatever this was?
well, basically, it was my mom was basically going both ways. I was going offense, trying to figure out what this is. Um, Defense, trying to say, okay, well, I keep in my mind where where they're at, how far they are from me. Which one I need to pick up, which one I need to grab, which one needs to take off. Um, Trying to basically, stay calm for them. So, because you get panicked, they're gonna get panicked, and then, as I was saying, is all hell's gonna break loose. I didn't want that to happen because they ain't no telling what this thing could be. It could have been more than one there. If anything, that could have been a small one just chilling next to the tent, and mama sitting there like testing. Just go sit on the tent, see what they're gonna do. They ain't no telling. But being a parent, yes, I had my mind was offense and defense going because I was like, okay, gotta stay calm. Boom, he's here, he's here. Just relax, stay calm for him. And I think that what kept us fine. And I don't think it felt threatened, especially when I was pushing on it. I didn't put it as a threatening emotion to him. I just was basically, hey, get the heck off my tent, go somewhere else and see it. You know, um, I think it knew I had the kids there. It could have been, I mean, it could have been there protecting us from something else. It
That's
could
a
have been,
possibility.
you know,
Yeah,
I'm,
it had probably been watching you guys for the whole time that you were there,
yep.
and there are lots of accounts that these things are interested and attracted to kids for whatever reason. Could have been interested in your sons and just wanted to get a little bit closer to them. But we as men, we are taught our whole lives that we have to be tough, we have to be brave, and we have that protective instinct, especially when it comes to our children. So I can't imagine being in the kind of situation that you were in, thinking that your boys could potentially be hurt.
Yeah.
So I mean that's so scary
I
to
mean,
me.
I had my mindset I was going to put my life on the line. If it came to it, I was luckily both of them knew how to drive. Basically, knew how to drive the Bronco. They could jump in, crank it up, and they could drive. They all you had to do is put it in gear and go. It kind of drove itself. It's one of those old inline six Broncos, so it'd go. I actually see a comment from Stacy M on there. Said, "Where was the sighting?" It's basically on the backside of Bryant, Alabama. But I was in Tennessee, and it was basically right off on the backside of Nickajack. If you actually travel 24, if you're going towards Nashville from Chattanooga, or even from Chattanooga, you get towards Nickajack Bridge. There's actually a road that cuts off to the right. It's an exit. I think it's probably exit 164. I'm gonna say. If you get off that exit, go around that mountain, you go down that mountain there. It actually is the back way into South Pittsburgh, and there's a road that cuts off up the hill, which is backside of Bryant, Alabama, and it goes up into Sand Mountain. Well, as soon as you turn that road to go up, it's maybe 200 feet away from the interstate of that main road, and it's right there, boom, right off of right off the road, back in the woods there. It's a real great place. I want to go back and I want to go back and actually go back in the woods again. It's just I want to make sure we have better equipment and stuff because there's no telling if it's still there. But yeah, if that answers her question, that's kind of that area. It was Alabama. You have Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee all right there. It's basically right in that. So
it's kind of like the South Pittsburgh Kimball area.
Yeah, because you go from right there's New Hope or Whiteside, and then you go right around the corner. You got New Hope. You go up the mountain into Bryant, and then you have only in the South Pittsburgh. So yeah, it's roughly about the same. I mean, they're right next to each other, and it's a good area because the dam, the Nickajack, the little small dam, the Nickajack Dam is right down the road from there. So it's a good spot. Let's see. Yep. I think she knows where that's at. That's exactly the fishing hole. So I think she knows where that's at.
And this is the Stacy that I think it might be. Get in touch with me if you know where he's talking about. You know how.
She's probably she's right on it. There's a railroad tracks there.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, guys. Walls, you got anything else about the encounter, or does that pretty much sum it up?
That's pretty much it, man. That was pretty much down to just about every detail that I could remember. Because you think I'm 39, going on 40. That was when my boys were 9 and 8, and I'm an old guy now. So
we're the same age. Watch your mouth, man.
Yeah, but you're looking back.
Yeah, I had about 21 years on to there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was there she is. She said I exactly been there many times, so she knows exactly where I'm talking about. Well, if you get Stacy, if you feel froggy, go camp out. If you've been there before, try it out, see what happens, and if you do get anything, try to get it on recording, try to get something, and also be careful. Please be careful. I don't want to be known, hey, this girl got, a lot of things happen. Just be careful. Don't isolate it. Don't aggravate it. Just if it's still there, and it does get maybe you get a chance, you might can caress his butt too. And
Walls, in some cultures, you and Bigfoot are married, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
You got to fill up a Bigfoot, so you guys.
I'm pretty much. I'm gonna put it at 90. I'm gonna say 95% chance. That was pretty much. I'd grab the Bigfoot's butt.
Well, buddy, there's not a lot of people out there that can say that. So congratulations.
That's true. That's the good thing.
All right, and as for our little project that we're working on, Ricky, you got any news for us? How's stuff going? Is it we still at a little bit of a standstill?
This next week we'll get our web page up and going, and we'll go from there.
Good deal. For those who don't know exactly what we're talking about, we are to the point where we are getting ready to start offering expeditions to the public, to where we take the public out to some of our research areas and give them a taste of what we do, what we go through out there, and a good chance that there'll be some kind of interaction with a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. We believe. No, obviously you can't. There's no way that you can guarantee that you're going to have something happen, and we hate that. And obviously can't guarantee a sighting because I've never had a sighting. Walls has never had a sighting. Rick's been doing this a long time, and I think he's only had one. And so sightings, we can't promise that, but we can give you a certain percentage that something will happen just because of the area, just because the areas we take you into, we've had stuff happen on a regular basis, and again, we can't even guarantee that, but that's something that we're getting ready to launch now. We're really really excited about it, and again, we'd love to have the feedback from you guys. Just what you think about doing it, maybe stuff that we could try, the things that we could offer, and heck, if you think it's a bad idea, we shouldn't do it. We need to hear that too. But yeah, that's where we stand at the moment. Anything else, guys, before we sign off?
I guess everybody. Go ahead. Go ahead. I just want to say thank you to everybody. If on here and who's going to watch it afterwards, and appreciate it, and love to hear from anybody that has any encounters. Definitely love to hear it. We want some leads, and especially in the South. I don't really know another Southern group that actually does this down here. I really don't. I mean, we're not doing paranormal, but it's there, but I think, we're the only ones doing like a Sasquatch, group. And that's pretty cool. Help us grow, that's just help us grow. We really, really want to grow, and we want something in the South here, and it'd be great.
Good deal.
Guys, I'd like to reiterate to the public before we go that, today, in today's society, these things aren't just in the woods anymore. You don't have to get out and hike 40 miles back into the woods to see these things or have an encounter with one of them. Like Walls was saying, he was just off the side of 24 up there and had this encounter. These things are basically, if there's a wood lot, old buildings, pasture land, whatever that these things can hang out on, and there's a food source, nowadays they're going to be there. And, if you ever encounter one, like Wayne said earlier, be very careful, be very cautious with the way you interact with these things, because they can be very dangerous. I mean, as a lot of people have told me, and they've told Wayne, they've told Walls, and like Walls' encounter, they've been gentle in nature, but I've had quite a few of these things that have thrown rocks at me, have pushed over trees, thrown sticks, growled, howled at us, whatever. If you get in their territory and they start doing this to you, please just back out and leave. Don't try to encounter these things. Don't try to run up and get a one-on-one with them, because, you're putting your life at danger when you do that. And I just wanted to reiterate that. Thanks, guys.
All right. That's true about talking about reaction.
Just like Rick said, the chances of you getting a piggyback ride from one of these guys is not good, guys. I mean, you might get a ride, but it's not going to be the kind you wanted. Again, everybody, I appreciate y'all taking time out and stopping by and saying hi to us and listening to us. And like Walls was saying, we're a new group, and we're looking to grow. We're excited about growing and loving what we're doing. Thank everybody for stopping by, and until next time, you guys be good to each other. See ya.